Welcome everyone to another episode of Pairing with Mare. We're back in our house in Sonoma and the holidays are upon us. They're just around the corner. So hopefully you have gotten our wine club for December, and we're so excited because this month we have a bubble in there, and you know I love bubbles. But it's the holidays. Bubbles are festive and they're meant to be shared and paired. So one of my favorite things, because I do have quite a sweet tooth, but one of the rules is typically with wine is that you need the wine to be sweeter than the dessert, or otherwise the sweetness in what you're eating will make the wine taste bitter. An example is why often they say you should have dark chocolate versus milk chocolate. There's so much sugar in milk chocolate that with a red wine there's usually kind of a clash. It's almost a train wreck. But if you combine it with a dark chocolate that has a little bit of bitter, it kind of makes the fruit pop in the red wine. So I love baking. In the holidays, sugar cookies, right? It's so much fun to make sugars. They're kind of a staple, but sugar cookies are pretty full of sugar. So we are going to make a low sugar cookie recipe. I know that probably sounds a little bit contradictory, but I'm telling you, it's delicious with our Prosecco this month. So like I said, this recipe has a little less sugar, but here's how I put it together. First thing is you're gonna cream your butter and your sugar together, and then once they're creamed together, now I don't use an actual hand beater. I know I'm crazy, but I'm kind of old-fashioned, I think. My ancestors didn't need a beater, so why should I use a beater? So I do it by hand, but by all means, to make it easier, you can use a hand beater. So you cream your butter and your sugar, then you add 1 egg and a teaspoon of vanilla, and that becomes your wet ingredients. And then over here, I combined our dry ingredients. So it's 1.5 cups of flour, there's baking powder, and just a little bit of salt. Now I have tried this recipe by swapping out 1/2 cup of the all-purpose flour with 1/2 cup of whole wheat flour. It comes out fine, but I will tell you it does make the cookies just a little bit drier. It's not a big deal, but if you were looking to add even just a little bit more health to it, you could do that swap. So then I whisk the flour together. This is already beaten, and then I'm gonna add, just like a lot of cookie recipes, I'm gonna add the dry ingredients into the wet ingredients. And I know this is sometimes where it gets tricky. You gotta get a little bit of power behind that arm because it's gonna seem like it won't come together, but you just gotta kind of keep working it. So as you can see, it started to come together and it resembles more of a dough. Now this is where I just decided it's probably time to just use our hands, God's gift. And this is where we're just gonna mix it finally and get it into a nice ball. Plus, it's just fun to use your hands. Makes you feel like a kid again, right? All right, so now you have this beautiful dough. So you just want to wrap it in plastic wrap, and you want to refrigerate it at least for an hour, but I've made it the day before and put it in the refrigerator for a day just so it gets nice and cold, because if you tried to roll this out now, it's going to be really way too sticky and you're just going to make a mess. So you want to refrigerate it at least for an hour. And now's a great time to have a sip of bubbles while you're waiting. I mean, it is the holidays after all, and it's festive. Okay, so it's been just over an hour, so I'm grabbing my cold dough. We're gonna come on over here and get it ready to roll out. All right, so it's gonna feel hard, but that's what you want, because again, you don't want it to be sticky. But what I like to do, like most sugar cookies, is put a little flour, because it is gonna be a little bit sticky on there. And then with your rolling pin, which this is my grandma Hale's rolling pin. So this is probably, gosh, who knows? This could be like 100 years old. But you know, they just don't make rolling pins like they used to. This thing can do some damage. All right, I think they're ready. Yep, you can see they're just starting to brown on the edges. Trust me, I've left them in too long and then they're too brown. So then I'm just gonna put them and let them cool on a cooling rack for a little while. Now, because I love Prosecco, and for me this is all about pairing something sweet with Prosecco because they're kind of two of my favorite loves, I'm gonna eat them just like this. But you could at this point, or once they cool, go ahead and decorate them with some icing and some fun things. What you might want to do is save a few to pair with the Prosecco and then have fun with the others, especially if you have kids around, and decorate them. That's fine. It's going to add a little extra sugar, but that's also fun too. So the best part about this pairing is it's the perfect pairing of Prosecco, low sugar cookies, is to pair them with buddies and friends.